Does the NBA actually hate Anthony Edwards? The Wolves star gets fined again for the third time in about a month. What is going on? And is this Ant's fault, or is the NBA simply getting too soft? I'm Trevor Lane. This is the Basketball Bulletin. Make sure you subscribe right here to the channel. Here's what's going on. Anthony Edwards fined by the NBA a $50,000 fine for making an obscene gesture towards a game official. The NBA just announced this today. If you care to see the incident, here you go. Here's what happened. Look, he's not doing anything to try to hide the. No, look at that. Right out in the open, not trying to hide what he's doing. In fact, he even does it again just to drive home the point. Anthony, look, here's the thing. Is the NBA wrong to fine Anthony? I've got a lot of people in my comments right now saying, oh, the NBA is soft and this is what the league is coming to and all that kind of stuff. And the league shouldn't the officials be getting fined for getting the calls wrong? I've also got people saying Adidas has got to be covering these fines. Maybe that's the thing. They're targeting him. I've got people speaking out and taking shots at Ant, saying it's not the ref's fault that you shot 0 for 5 on threes. The league is soft, all these sorts of things. Look, I would think that the NBA, had Anthony Edwards done anything to disguise it or anything like that, or just voiced his displeasure towards an official or whatever, hey, guess what? This may be a bit of a shock to everybody, but bad language does occasionally get used at NBA games. The problem is that Anthony Edwards was so overt about it. The way that he decided to express himself, shall we say, was very much out there in the open for everyone to see. And the NBA in that situation, they can't not fine him. You can't call the NBA soft when he's doing stuff like that. You have to fine him in that situation, because if you don't fine him, then somebody else is going to do it, right? Somebody else is going to do it. And then if you find that player, well, then it's giving preferential treatment to Anthony Edwards. If you don't find that player, then again, it perpetuates the idea that this is okay. And the NBA can't have that happening with their TV sponsors and things of that nature. But Anthony Edwards is expected to be one of the next big stars in the NBA. Can he actually get there? Because this is not the first fine that Anthony Edwards has received. We're going to take a look at some of the trouble that Ant has been in lately. We'll get to that next. First, a quick shout out to our sponsor, and that is Prize Picks. Prize Picks, great daily fantasy sports, super easy to play, and you get a guaranteed $50 when you play your first $5 when you use our code Bulletin. So go check them out. Again, Prize Picks. You can use the link in the description down below. I'll make a few quick picks here for tonight. Super easy to do. I love these little goblin guys because they wind up being easier to win. They're more likely to hit here, whereas the little demons are more difficult to win those ones. So I like these guys. I like seeing myself win, even if the payout is a little bit less. So I'm going to go over 12.5 points, more than 12.5 points for Jordan Poole. Karl Anthony Towns has been a monster rebounding the basketball. 13 against Detroit, though. Detroit's a pretty good rebounding team. You got Jalen Duren there. I don't know how comfortable I feel about that. Grady Dick, we'll go with him. He's strong. 4.5 rebounds and assists. He's going to get the job done. Let's go with, and then Jonas Valanciunas. I don't know how much I like that one. 7 rebounds there. Ja Morant is actually come down with an illness, so I'm going to go less than 22.5 points for Ja Morant. See if we can take advantage of that. But again, if you guys want to check out Prize Picks, use the link in the description down below. You guys can see how easy it is to play. You can turn your knowledge of ball into cash. Go check out Prize Picks. Use that code Bulletin so they know that you came from us. All right, as I said, this is not the first time that Anthony Edwards has been fined. In fact, take a look at this. Anthony Edwards, my goodness, racking up some fines here. December 23rd, $75,000 for public criticism of officiating. December 29th, $100,000 for profane language during a TV event. And then you've got Anthony Edwards fined $25,000 for profane language. Now, is this actually hurting Anthony Edwards, or is this helping? Is this giving him some of that kind of anti-hero credibility? The fact that he uses foul language, the fact that it doesn't seem to care, as the video that I showed said, Anthony really DGAF. You guys all know what that means. I'm not going to get myself in trouble here, but you guys know what that means. So is this actually helping Anthony Edwards gain a little bit more fandom just by being kind of the bad boy? Or is this actually hurting his standing in the NBA? I do think that the NBA has gone out of their way to try to push Anthony Edwards as one of the next big stars. Look, if I'm the NBA, I'm worried. I'm not in a panic or anything like that, but I'm a little bit worried. I mean, we all saw what happened with WWE, with WCW, when all that started happening, when it was very clear that they weren't developing new stars. What happened? WCW kicked their ass for a few years. That's what it took. And suddenly the WWE went, oh man, okay, we really need to develop new stars. And they did. And they went to the Attitude Era, and they got Stone Cold, and they got The Rock, and all these guys that were coming in. Mick Foley did his thing, right? I kind of feel like the NBA is in a similar spot right now where they need to develop new stars. Why? Because your top tier talent, your LeBron James, Steph Curry, Kevin Durant, they're all getting kind of long in the tooth. You need to market around these fresh new stars. And Anthony Edwards is certainly one of them. While Victor Wembanyama may be on his way to becoming the face of the NBA, Anthony Edwards is a critical piece to this. I talked about it the other day. It's not going to be Zion. It's not Zion Williamson at this point. It should have been. He should be one of the faces, one of the young faces of the NBA, but you can't count on him enough. He can't even show up for the damn plane for his own team. So you can't count on him to be the face. And it seemed like the NBA pivoted towards Anthony Edwards. They need, and maybe it's not fair, but I think they need not just stars, they need a few American stars. I think that does matter for the league. Wemby is great. Giannis is great. Jokic is great. Luka is great. But these are all international players. They're incredible players. They enhance the game. I love watching these guys play basketball, but I do think the NBA needs American stars as well. They need to create American stars. And Anthony Edwards is a guy that was on that path. 25 points per game right now, 6 boards, 4 assists, shooting 42% from 3, but just 44% overall. But he's just not quite at that level yet. He's not quite there yet. And he's got time. He's 23 years old. But you look what happens. It's about a 3-point difference with him on the court compared to off the court for the Wolves right now. That's not the case with Wemby. That's not the case with Jokic. That's not the case with these top tier guys. And so what we know is that while Anthony Edwards, the NBA would love for him to become a new star in the NBA. He's very marketable. I thought he was fantastic in that movie Hustle. He's got his Sprite commercials. He's got the whole Anta Claus thing that we saw last month in December. He's got something to him. He's got that it factor, but he's got to produce at that level on the floor. He's got to become that dominant player. And again, he's not there yet. He's close. He's not far off. He is a very, very, very good player. There's no question. But is he a guy that impacts winning the way some of these other players do? No, not yet. And that's what they need from Anthony Edwards to make it worth putting up with all of the, antics, I guess, pun intended, right? That's what it's going to take for Anthony Edwards to make it worthwhile for the NBA to continue investing in him, to continue to shine that spotlight on him as one of their next big guys. And look, we know it. The NBA needs it. We saw it last year. It was going to be Ja Morant, right? Ja was the rising face of the NBA. Whoops. He got suspended. He got in all kinds of trouble. Zion Williamson can't stay healthy, right? Can't stay on the floor. Keeps showing up late for team activities. Jimmy Butler is in the crosshairs right now for getting called out with all of the stuff going on around a trade request, and he's older anyway. The NBA needs to create new stars, and Anthony Edwards, they very much need him to be that. But the problem is this kind of stuff, constantly getting yourself in trouble, getting yourself fined, that's just going to annoy the league. And all that's going to serve to do is take more of the spotlight off of Anthony Edwards, or at least off of him for the wrong reasons, or a spotlight on him for the wrong reasons, I should say. Anthony Edwards, look, you don't have to be perfect. You don't have to be squeaky clean. Absolutely not. I think people want real. People want to see stars who are real. But the bottom line is the NBA still needs to make money. The league still needs to be able to make money. They need to be able to put a product that they can put on TV. They need to be able to have people interview you without having you drop F-bombs. They need to be able to have you play in a game without going after the officials, without flipping off the officials, right? There's going to be kids in the crowd. That's just reality, right? You want to develop a new generation of fans, don't you? There's going to be kids in the crowd. And so while the NBA, it's real, is there bad language? Absolutely there is. But you still need to be able to market yourself as family friendly. And so Anthony Edwards has to tone it down a bit here, has to stop getting himself fined if he is going to become that next rising face here in the NBA. A lot of work to do, very talented player. But again, he's not there yet. And let me throw this out there. Cade Cunningham, I've talked about it. He deserves a lot of credit. I think there should be more of a spotlight on Cade and what he's been doing. He's been fantastic with the Detroit Pistons. Anthony Edwards, his athletic gifts are on another level. And I think he can create more highlight-worthy moments. But let's not forget, if Ant can't figure things out and can't keep himself out of trouble, there are other options for the NBA to focus on. There are other players to turn to. While we do watch Anthony Edwards on the rise, hopefully he can find some way to clean it up a little bit. Doesn't have to be entirely, but just clean it up a little bit and try to avoid getting fined. Keep it under 2 times a month, Ant. If we could do that, at least that would be a step in the right direction. But everybody, let me know your thoughts on Anthony Edwards in the comments down below. Is he going to figure it out and toe the line, or is he going to continue doing what Anthony Edwards does? And is he just on the stone cold path that will just turn him into being an anti-hero anyway? Here I go again with the puns. Anti-hero. Anyway, let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. Go check out my breakdown of all the big games from last night. That's up right now.